Hi, in this video we're going to be having a think about Cyberspace Detective, which is the C1 piece for the grade. And as always, worth having a look at the notes written at the bottom of the page so you've got some idea what's going on. So telling us a little bit about what inspired the composer Amit Anand to write this piece. And it's all inspired by the detectives of cyberspace who work all the time against hackers. So we know that's a bit of a problem, isn't it, these days? Hackers trying to get into the systems and so on. So that's what it's all about. And it's kind of saying, well, we had these great detectives of the past, like Sherlock Holmes and Poirot and things. You might have read some of those books or seen some films with them in it. And this is the kind of sort of modern day version. So just gives us the kind of backdrop to what the piece is about. These detectives trying to keep the internet safe for all of us to use. So that's rather good. And, you know, how do you get the mood of a piece? Well, the title says a lot, Cyberspace Detective, but just thinking, well, what are those people kind of doing, really? They're kind of trying to find these hackers. They're trying to be one step ahead of them and all the rest of it. And it goes on to say, well, how does the composer kind of paint that in the music? And it says the chromatic movement, spiky chords, offbeat rhythms and dramatic dynamics all work together to kind of generate the atmosphere. And then there's this kind of James Bond finish. Let's have a little think about what does all that actually mean? Chromatic movement. Well, if you've ever played a chromatic scale, which you might not have done just yet, what a chromatic scale is it's going every single note, every single semitone, every single half step. So if I go C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, this is a chromatic scale. So you see what it's doing is using every single white note, every single black note. That's chromatic. And as you look through this piece, you might think, oh, there's some sort of chromatic bits in it. So if you look at the left hand at the end of the first line in bar 4, do you see the left hand goes E, D sharp, D natural? That's a little bit chromatic, isn't it? And then the left hand at the end of the second line, well, we've got C to D, but then D, D sharp, E, that's a bit chromatic as well. Then in the right hand, look at the first bar where you've got a leap between the first two notes, but then C to C sharp, that's a bit chromatic. That happens again in the second bar. Then in the third bar, we have a little bit of a leap here, and then we step up there, but then here's another chromatic note, D to E flat, back to D again. So you can see what they're on about, that we've got these chromatic movements. That's what that means. And that's all kind of like, ooh, we're creeping about, trying to find the hackers. You can see what's going on. Spiky chords. Well, you can see quite often, you know, what's a chord? It's when you've got more than one note sounding at the same time. So in the first bar, the right hand starts off, then the left hand goes, that's a kind of spiky chord. Another spiky chord. So these spiky chords are what we're talking about there. Okay, offbeat rhythms. Well, slightly jazzy rhythms. Do you notice that rhythm I played in the right hand of the first bar? Bum, 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 ba. It's a little bit kind of jazzy, isn't it? Dum, bum, bum, ba. So those kind of jazzy rhythms all helping. There's quite a bit of that going on in the piece. If you look in the third line, bar 10, you see the right hand. Da, dum, bum, 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 dee, dum, bum, ba, dum. These are all these slightly offbeat rhythms. Dramatic dynamics. What do we mean by that? Well, notice at the beginning it says P, doesn't it? In the third bar, there's a massive crescendo to forte at the beginning of the fourth bar, and then we diminuendo back to MP. So it's not a kind of small crescendo going from P to MP. It's a big crescendo, isn't it? So quite dramatic. And then you notice things like in bar 17 on line 3, P subito. Subito means suddenly, so suddenly it's quiet. And then look at the last line, you've got this crescendo getting louder and louder and louder and louder until you get to FF. That's really loud, isn't it, at the end? Then the last chord's got an accent on it, so it's going to be a really powerful finish. So that's dramatic dynamic. So you see how these things, chromatic movement, spiky chords, offbeat jazzy rhythms, dramatic dynamics, they're all things that are going to help us get the mood. So lots of people, when they play this piece, I think, will be able to play the notes, be able to play the rhythms, but they'll probably play the piece maybe a bit too slowly, and they may be kind of not really thinking too much about all these things that we're talking about now. So they'll play the notes, they'll play the rhythms, but it won't really get the mood across. So these are all clues as to how you get the mood of the piece to work. So important things for us to think about as we work through this piece. Now, the right hand has got most of the kind of melody in the piece, and the left hand is kind of adding to the character. It's part of the accompaniment, but these kind of spiky chords, staccato notes, chromatic things, all things that are adding to the mood. Let's begin by thinking about the left hand. And we're going to think about the rhythm first, because as I often say, it's important to get the rhythm in place. It's even more important to get the rhythm in place at first than it is the notes. Lots of people start with the notes, and then because they've had a bit of trouble getting from this note to this, they get used to putting a rest in between two notes or making one note a bit too long. So they kind of learn the notes, but the rhythm's all a bit kind of, and then they try and put the rhythm in later. But I think do it the other way around. Get the rhythm in place so you know exactly what the rhythm is. So when you learn the notes, you pin the notes to that rhythm. So there we are. Okay, let's look at the left hand rhythm then. It's interesting in the first two bars that the left hand doesn't do anything on the first three beats, and then it comes in on the fourth beat. So this is part of this kind of slightly dramatic thing where the fourth beat of the bar is usually a kind of lighter beat. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So the 4 is a kind of lift onto the next bar. So if you put a note on the fourth beat, like the composer's done in the left hand here, and you mark it staccato and accented, you're kind of drawing attention. So the left hand's kind of going 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So do you see that's all adding to the character, isn't it? Okay, let's see if we can clap the left hand rhythm. So I'll count a bar for nothing. See if you can clap the left hand rhythm with me. If you get lost, don't worry, try and get back in again. But what I would say is anything that goes wrong, go back, have a look at the bits that went wrong, rewind the video until you can clap the rhythm with me accurately from start to finish. Then you've got it sorted. So let's start at the beginning and start unpacking the left hand rhythm. Here's a bar for nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay, let's stop there. Are we happy about that? If anybody got lost there, it may well be that last bar that got you lost because it goes into quavers. So bar 4 starts with a rest, doesn't it? So it goes 1 and 2 and 3, 4. You've got a quaver rest, an eighth note rest, 3 quavers, 3 eighth notes, 2 crotchets, 2 quarter notes. Okay, and it's getting used to the first 2 bars having this thing on the fourth beat, isn't it? Okay, so hopefully you're happy with the first line. Rewind, go over it if you want to. If we move on to the second line now, well, we've still got those chords on the fourth beats like we had in bars 1 and 2, but we've now also got chords on the first beat. So we're going to put a chord on beat 1 and beat 4, and then it's going to move on from there. So let's now see if we can clap the rhythm in the left hand on the second line. Here's a bar for nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. Okay, I don't know how that went for you, but see, it's a bit similar to the first line, but it's not the same, is it? So you want to be really sure about how that goes. Again, rewind it, go over it, and you'll be fine with it in no time. Let's move on to line 3. Left hand again. Here's a bar for nothing. Lots of crotchets or quarter notes here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I imagine you might have started that line quite well. If anything went wrong, it was probably in those last 2 bars. So again, practice it, rewind it, you'll be away. Okay, let's now go on to the 4th line. And I'm going to start with just the first 2 bars. So bars 15 and 16. Let's clap those. Here's a bar for nothing. They're quite straightforward because they're all crotchets or quarter notes. So just those 2 bars, 15 and 16. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nothing too difficult about that. Now, when we come to these next 2 bars, this is bars 17 and 18, the last 2 bars of this line, we've got this kind of slightly jazzy rhythm going on in the left hand. Do you notice that the chord, the second chord, is tied onto the third one in both these bars? So it generates a slightly funny rhythm. What I want to do first of all is to take those ties out. So have a look at bars 17 and 18 and imagine those ties are not there, okay? If we had that rhythm with no ties, it would go like this. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. Now, just try clapping that with me. I'll count a bar for nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. Okay, make sure you're entirely happy with that. Again, rewind it, practice it on your own. This time, I'm going to put the ties back in. So instead of doing this, 1, 2 and 3, the second chord is tied to the third. So I'm not going to clap on 3 because the second chord is tied onto it. I'm going to go 1, 2 and 3. So do you see how the tie works? So when you put the whole bar together, it goes 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. It's a slightly awkward rhythm. That's why I think it's worth practicing it without the ties. Then put the ties back in. Okay, try clapping those 2 bars with me, 17 and 18. Here we go. I'll count 4 for nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. Those are the 2 bars you may need to practice more than any other just to really get the feel of that. So keep rewinding that bit of the video until you're happy about it. Once you've got over those 2 bars, going into the last line, life isn't too bad. So let's try clapping the last line. Left hand again. Here's a bar for nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, rest. 3, rest. 1, 2, 3, rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Stop. Okay, happy with that? Hopefully you are. Again, rewind if you need to. Notice something I mentioned at the end. I talked about a pause. You see this sign over the music? That's a pause sign, and it just means make that chord, that final chord, a bit longer. It's up to you to decide how long. You can choose whether it's going to be really long or just a bit long. You probably don't want to be too long on it, but maybe if you just count 1, 2, pause, off. Something like that is probably what you want to do. But there's just a little detail in there. Cool. Okay, now we've sorted out the left hand rhythm, we're going to add the notes to it, but make sure you've got your rhythm happy first. A lot of the left hand is running in fifths. What do I mean by that? I mean that the notes, you're playing 2 notes at a time, and they're 5 notes apart. So when you look in the first bar, first measure in the left hand, we start with A and E. Well, A to E is A, B, C, D, E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why we call it a fifth, because it's 5 notes apart. So you notice you play fingers 1 and 5, 1 on the E, 5 on the A. And then when you go on to the end of the next bar, those 2 notes both move down 1 to another fifth. Then in the third bar, they both move down another 1 to another fifth. Then they come up again to another fifth. So you see, it's just moving around in fifths. Yeah? So that deals with the first bit. So then you've got to put the rhythm in with that, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're happy with dealing with those fifths in the right rhythm. Okay, let's look at bar 4. This is this chromatic bit that goes E, D sharp, D natural, C, B. So be sure about those notes. E, D sharp, D, C, B. And the fingering here is 1, 3, 1, 3, 4. And it's quite important to do that fingering because it puts you in the right place for the second line. So that bar then goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you can practice that bar, get that happy. When we go on to line 2, well, we've talked about the rhythm, but you see how these fifths are still around. So we start with in bar 5 with the fifth that we had at the beginning, this time on the first beat of the bar. So we put this fifth, this A and E, rest, rest, repeat, repeat, rest, rest. We then go down a note to this fifth, which we had at the end of bar 2. We then do exactly the same in bar 7 that we did in bar 3. So F and C to G and D. Same fingering that we had before. When we come to this bar, this is bar 8, the last but one bar on line 2, notice what happens here. We've got these 2-part chords. We start with this fifth again, this A and E chord, but then it goes 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. Just see what's happening there. The E at the top is repeating. E, 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 and the bottom notes are climbing the scale. A, B, C, D, which means the interval, the gap between the notes, gets smaller every time. 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. So you can see how to practice that bar. You can pause at any time and just think, yeah, I'm going to practice that bar. Let's get that happy. And then you're in business. Now, the next bar, bar 9, the last bar of the middle line, we've got A going up to E. So that's still that fifth again that we started with. But this time it's not a chord. It's A first, then it's E. Then notice this little chromatic touch. C with a 4th finger. Don't put your 3rd finger on it, otherwise you'll run out of fingers. Put your 4th finger on C, 3 on D, 2 on D sharp, 1 on E. Okay, so that bar's. Then when we go on to the 3rd line, you've got A and E and back to A again. So it's still that fifth that we had at the beginning. You see how that keeps coming back, sometimes as a chord, sometimes as separate notes. End of bar 10, we go on to this fifth that we played at the end of bar 2. So that's familiar. Then in bar 11, we go on to this fifth that we first met in bar 3. And then we repeat it 3 times. Then we come back to this fifth again. Then we come back to this fifth again, the A and E thing. Then if you look in bar 12, you'll notice it's exactly the same as bar 8. You know that thing we practiced? So we're doing that again, aren't we? Then you might notice that we go into bar 13, and this one is exactly the same as bar 9. What's this useful? Same fingers. So 4th finger. So that's handy, isn't it? Because we know all this stuff. Oh, brilliant. Now, bar 14, the last bar of line 3, back at A and E again. A, E, and then going on to this fifth as a chord that we met in bar 2. Then we go on to the fourth line. We've got F and C that we first met in bar 3, and we play that 3 times just like we did in bar 11. So bar 15, same as bar 11. Bar 16, same as bar 12, which of course is the same as bar 8. So it's always nice when things repeat, because you think, well, I practiced that already, now I know how it goes. Brilliant. Then we come to these 2 bars, 17 and 18, the last 2 bars of line 4, and where we were working on this rhythm before, what we call a syncopated rhythm. So see if you can remember that rhythm. But what's happening in bar 17 is all the notes are the same. It's A and E. Then in bar 18, we're moving down to G and D. So the notes are the same throughout each bar. So if we put this together in these 2 bars, 17 and 18, it goes like this. 1, 2, 1, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. So when you're practicing those notes, don't lose the rhythm. That's the easiest thing that could happen to you there. So again, you might want to work on those 2 bars. That takes us to the last line, where we're back with our fifths again. F at the bottom, C at the top. So we met that first of all in bar 3. Then we move on to G and D. Well, we met that first of all in bar 2. Then we go back to F and C twice, then back to G and D. So we met all that before. Then bar 21, we go back to F and C this time for 2 beats, and then G and D for 2 beats. So these are very familiar. We're just repeating those 2 things, aren't we? And then right at the end, we're back to where we started, A and E. So if you kind of sort of think, well, how do these ideas connect across the left hand? You'll soon see lots of things repeating, sometimes with the same rhythm, sometimes a slightly different rhythm. But if you can kind of put all that together and see where the fifths are, where the fifths come as a chord, where the fifths come what we call melodically, where you get A, E, A. So not as a chord, but one note after another. You'll soon get the idea of how that left hand goes. You'll also notice in the left hand, when you kind of get comfortable with it, you can kind of add in all these markings. Some notes are staccato, so detached notes. Some have got these little daggers, like accented notes. So you notice at the end of bar 1, the left hand's got an accented staccato note. Now, accented doesn't necessarily mean play it as loud as possible, because it's P, so you don't really want to play it. You've got to throw a lump of concrete at that left hand, but it wants to be kind of snappy, doesn't it? So it's kind of short and snappy. So have a look at that left hand and you'll see short and snappy at the end of bar 1, again the end of bar 2. Then it's not marked staccato or accented, so that can be kind of more like that. And then the next bar, bar 4, is marked legato, so it's smooth. So play that smoothly, but lift at the end of the first line. Then staccato, but then staccato accent. But then staccato without the accent. Then staccato accent. And then kind of normal, then staccato, no accents, but it is loud actually, but then play these 2 notes, then play smoothly, and then lift, and then kind of normal here, and then you've got a line tenuto, it's going to like hold on to the note without making it too long, then staccato, 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 tenuto, staccato, 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 normal, smooth lift, normal, normal, tenuto held, staccato, 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 tenuto, staccato, 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 normal, but just get your rhythm in here. You see what's going on? And then when you come to the very last chord, that's got an accent, but it's also FF, so it's going to be loud. So sorting out your left hand rhythm, then getting your left hand notes in, Then you need to start thinking, oh, which notes are staccato, which are tenuto, which ones are staccato and accented, and they don't always come quite where you expect them to come. So the people who are going to do really well in the exam are going to be people who've shown the examiner they know exactly what all those markings are about. So that's a good thing to practice and get happy about. That's the left hand. Let's look at the right hand and see if we can sort out the rhythm here. The right hand, as I say, has got the tune, but it's also kind of slightly faster moving. It's got quavers or eighth notes, and it's got some of this syncopation as well. Let's look at the very first bar. Now, if I clap the first bar without the tie that's joining the last two notes, it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, rest. Okay, 1 and 2 and 3, rest. If I put the tie in, it just means I'm sort of holding on to the last note, but I'm not repeating it. So I'm going 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So you see how that makes it sound slightly syncopated, slightly kind of offbeat. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. The second bar is the same as the first bar, so that's useful. Then when you come to the third bar, we haven't got all that tied note syncopation. We've got 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second line is doing kind of what the first line was doing, isn't it? So you get the idea with how this rhythm goes. So sometimes we've got these tied notes doing these syncopated things. They come back in line 3. Do you notice bar 10? 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Then without 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Then line 4, we've got some syncopation. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, rest. 1 and 2 and 3. You get the idea. So sometimes we're syncopated, sometimes we're not. Look at the last but one bar, bar 21. There's some slightly snappy rhythm at the end of that bar. This bar goes like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Oh, that's a funny one, isn't it? 3 and 4 and 1. Just try that bit with me. And 3 and 4 and 1. And now do the whole of bar 21. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. You see how that goes? Another little jazzy syncopated rhythm. Let's now try clapping the whole of the right hand rhythm. If you get lost, do not worry. It's not all that straightforward, but you kind of get a feel for the rhythm in a piece like this after a while. You'll kind of know how it goes. You'll kind of remember it. But you want to make sure you're remembering it right. So that will help. And by counting and clapping, that should help. And then if it doesn't go right the first time, doesn't matter. You can rewind, keep going at it until you're happy. Here's the right hand rhythm. A bar for nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, rest. 1 and 2 and 3, rest. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Line 2. 1 and 2 and 3, rest. 1 and 2 and 3, rest. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, rest, rest. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, rest. 1 and 2 and 3, rest. 1 and 2 and 3, rest. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, rest. 3, 4, pause. Okay, how did you get on with that rhythm? If you got there, well done you. If one or two bits wobbled, well, go back, have a look at them and be really sure you've got all those rhythms sorted out. Let's talk about the right hand notes and the fingers. So at the beginning, we're starting on A, down below the treble clefs, Dave. So we're going A, C, C sharp, A, bit of that chromatic stuff. 1, 2, 3, 1. Notice piano staccato. And then the second bar, same again. 1, 2, 3, 1. So that's okay, isn't it? Now the third bar, smooth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now what you might notice there, it goes up A, C, D, E flat, and then comes down the same way that it went up. D, C, A. So it's quite useful to know that that's a kind of symmetrical pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, line 2. Well, same as the beginning of line 1. Staccato. And then notice in the second bar, bar 6, it's different notes from bar 2. E, D sharp, E, A. Bit chromatic again. 5, 4, 5, 1. Then this next bit is almost the same as bar 3. We're going to certainly need the same fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1. So it's just a little bit different at the end of the bar, isn't it? A, C, D, E flat, then D, C, D, C, A. Okay, moving on from there, we're going on to the last bar of line 2, bar 9. A, E, A, E. So that's 5, 2, 5, 2. So it's the same pair of notes repeated. Then we're doing the same notes again at the beginning of line 3. A, E, and then on to G. So keep your fingers the same. 5, 2, 5, 2, 4. Next bar, we're going to go 5, 2, 5, 2. Notice that bottom note has now changed to D sharp. So A, D sharp, A, D sharp, then F with number 3, and then put your thumb on E. 4 beats on that, so you can kind of catch your breath a bit. And then we're going to go on to the next bit. And this bar coming up, this is 11, 12, 13, is exactly the same as bar 9. So again, use the same fingers. 5, 2, 5, 2. This is kind of familiar again. 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, 4. Then going on to the next line, bar 15, we're going to this D sharp thing again. A, D sharp, A, D sharp, F, E. So bars 15 and 16 are exactly the same as bars 11 and 12. I like pieces that do that. You learn something and then you think, oh great, it's come back. I've already learned this bit. And then when we go on to bar 17, where it says P, subito, subito, suddenly, suddenly quiet. Well, this time we're going to be doing what we did at the beginning of the piece, but it's an octave higher. So do you notice bar 17 is the same as bar 1 or the same as bar 5, but it's an octave higher. Exactly the same fingers. And then bar 18 at the end of line 4 is exactly the same as bar 6, an octave higher again. So same fingers, same staccatos, everything, that's all good. When you go on to the fourth line, you might notice that bar 19 is the same as bar 3, but it's an octave higher again. So same fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2. Repeat the bar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2. Okay, then the next bar starts the same, but then changes. So 1, 2, 3, and then it's E flat again, but this time it's called D sharp, just to confuse you, but it's the same note. So D sharp with the fourth finger, then you put your thumb under for E, and then your third finger on G, back to your thumb on E, fourth finger on A, then play this last chord, C and F sharp, 4 and 1. That's a very funny sound. You might play that and think, am I right? Well, you are. That's what it should sound like. It's called a tritone. Don't worry too much about that, but it's a kind of slightly spooky sound. Okay, now that deals with kind of getting all these notes and rhythms sorted out, which is really important in this piece. Now, one thing you might want to get into is the speed. It says about 116. It's reasonably fast. If you put 116 on your metronome, you'll think, oh, that's a bit of a surprise. I would say to you, don't worry about speed. Speed is the last thing to put in. I mean, you've got to worry about it in the end, but put the speed in after you've got everything else. Make sure you've got your rhythm. The pulse is really steady because this piece needs to be really rhythmic. You've got to feel that pulse going 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if the pulse is all kind of sloppy and moving around, it won't really work. So really important to probably play it with your metronome and make sure it's really steady. Even if you're going slower than 116, then you can gradually speed it up until you can get to 116 later. But make sure you've got your notes and your rhythms in a way that we've talked about. But then think, have I got all these dynamics that we talked about? P at the beginning, crescendo, F, diminuendo, MP, all this stuff. Quite a lot of things to think about there, aren't there? And when you have your crescendos and your diminuendos, are they well graded? In other words, do they happen gradually and evenly? Or do you suddenly get louder and then it doesn't get louder and then it gets louder again and it's kind of a bit bumpy? So what we call even grading of your crescendos, especially on the last line, when you've got the whole line to go from P to FF, you've got to do that really gradually. So working on the dynamics, getting all your staccatos, getting your accents, your tenutos, all those things that we talked about, that will be really important. Then when you can do all that stuff, as I say, pulling up the speed just bit by bit until you get to that 116. And if you're finding it difficult to get to 116, it's not the end of the world if you play it a bit slower. Try not to play it too much slower, but you could play it a bit slower. When you're increasing the speed, I always think use your metronome, go kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. If you're happy then, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Because if you just keep going up, 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 it starts to fall apart. And that should help you to do it. But it's a great fun piece, this Cyberspace Detective. And I think if you use your musical imagination to just imagine, what does a cyberspace detective do? Kind of searching out all these hackers who are trying to mess with our internet, and then see if you can get that mood across in all the different ways that we've talked about doing that. You'll end up with a really happy, convincing performance of Cyberspace Detective. Enjoy.